Microphone is working because I can see it on the camera. I wish there was something here, but. All right, guys, can you hear us? Perfect. Nothing like reboot, restart. Sorry for the hang up, guys. I think it was something we did yesterday for the Jitsi show.
Thank you very much. Okay. So we'll take it slowly at first and let everybody find us again. I am so sorry about that. We were so busy doing things for the Jitsi yesterday, and we had done the recording of it. We tried uploading it to a private account. We did all of that. So I think Mark was on the computer for hours yesterday. So anyway, and then I was up till 1:30 working on this Bargello. And boy, am I taking good notes. I'm taking very good notes while I'm doing it. Because thank you. I had one little problem that I thought was kind of funny that I wanted to share with y'all. So I was making the tubes for the Bargello. I had sewn all my strip sets together, then sewn them into one big tube, and I was cutting out the individual tubes. And realized when I was trying to put it together, on one, because you have two strip sets that are supposed to be identical. One of the strip sets didn't match right. And I found that I had sewn one of the strip set pairs backwards. So on one run, you got the correct color. On the other run, so I had already cut about 15 strips. So what I did is sat there last night and I said, well, I had some dinner and I thought, I'll sit here and relax a little bit. And I took them out and sewed them back together by hand. What I was able to do is just take out that little block pair, turn them around, and stitch them back into place. So remember, I was asking anybody taking the class, if you have poster board, a portable design wall, foam core board, you might want to use it. If not, do you have a design wall up on your wall? But by cutting these 15 strips, what it did is allowed me to make sure that I saw the Bargello pattern. And if you don't see it coming out, then that means something is wrong. Now, with your pattern tomorrow, I'm going to include a brightly colored chart because when I printed it out, I didn't see the colors on the chart tell you when to change direction. If you see here, when I started it, here, and just so you know, I have a couple little dots on this fabric. It's where I stabbed myself with the scissors and bled on the fabric. So it might stay there or I'll get some meat tenderizer to take it out. But if you see, I started with my number one color. And then what you do after that is you roll the tube upwards so that you get the next color. You get the next color up. Let me bring this up a little. So this board really helps me keep track because then it's still pinned in half, but I've opened the top. And so having a board like this, You just pick a color and you track it to make sure, yep, it's going up, 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 up to the top. When you get to that little tiny 3/4 inch piece, now you know why I said drop your stitches, your stitch length when you do sew the strips together, because when you cut this apart, if you're not careful, if you sneeze wrong, it will open up. But you see my browns go up, then they start coming back down. And if you remember right, when I was laying out my colors, I liked that I had a bold color every few strips, because the bold color is what carries your eye around the pattern. So these are my first 15. I've got almost all of the others cut out, but what I'm going to do then is I've got to make 2 more strip sets. So if you remember, I'll put this here. If you remember, we had to cut out 4 of each color. And I thought, well, what are we going to use these other 2 strips? Because I only used 2 of each color to do that, to get this far. Well, when I was cutting them last night, I thought, oh no, I'm not going to have enough. Because I thought the other 2 strips of each color were going to make a whole nother section. No, what they are is you have to make 2 more strip sets just to get a couple little cuts. So what I may do is continue it and make it a little wider. So that is always an option. So we'll work on that together when we start the class. Now, what you saw me do, I am so sorry I had to start another stream, but we were figuring out, what can this computer do? How do we record? Where do we put it? Oh God. So, it was all new to us. Thank goodness we practiced when we did. And thank you to Mark for spending hours working on this. Okay. So we start our first class on the Bargello tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time or New York time. And I'm going to start cutting and piecing strips right along with you. I realized I've cut most of them out, but I've got one more fabric to cut. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through it. I'm making 2 quilts. This one, which I hope to have pieced back together to show you. And I'm going to make another one from scratch so that you can, I'll demonstrate something, you make something. I want to make sure you have all the confidence in the world to do your Bargello, because it really is pretty. I mean, it's amazing. And I don't think I've ever seen an ugly one, no matter what fabrics you use. It's so striking to watch that pattern marching up and down. But the main thing we've got to do is you've got to know when to switch directions with the tubes, because they come in a tube. So you just turn it until you get the right one. Thank goodness she said, check and make sure when you hang it on the board, check and make sure it follows all the way through. So with these, I had to flip. I had on one of the strip sets, I had to flip these 2 fabrics. The blue was touching the dark blue and the purple was supposed to. So on those, I just took out, left those 2 together, turned them around. So I did that 15 times. Then when I went back into work after dinner, went back to work on them again, I took out of what I hadn't cut yet. I took it out as a 2-piece, turned it around, sewed it back in. So it actually wasn't that big of a deal. I enjoy sewing by hand, and it was pretty simple. Having starched the strips made it easier. Having ironed at every step of the way, pressing them keeps them together. Yes, the strips are the length of fabric. And the length of the fabric is different for each of them. But don't worry about that. Don't worry if you have to cut off a few inches, because you're going to have to make both sets of strip sets anyway. What I recommend, and I'm going to recommend this when we start the class, sew the strips by pairs. So both, okay, I did these strip sets one at a time. I'm going to get y'all to do them two at a time. We are going to do chain piecing and get this puppy knocked out, because I want to, by Friday, we're going to have a quilt top. That's my plan. All right. And don't worry if you're new to Bargello, we will work you through it. So 12 fabrics. There you go, Lisa. 12 fabrics, 2.5 inch wide by width of fabric. We'll trim them up later. And oh, no, just you pick out your 12 fabrics that are going to be your stripes up and down and lay them out. Cut 2.5 inch wide strips by width of fabric. That means selvage to selvage, not length of fabric. Width of fabric. And your width of fabric, American fabric, is usually 42 to 44 or 45 inches wide. So you're going to have a strip 2.5 inches by at least, let's say, 43. Okay? And don't worry if they don't match. Now, you might want to go ahead and leave your selvages on so you can keep track of what is the technical top and what is the bottom. Yesterday, when we did our practice on, I made a whole strip set while we were talking, and it was straight. It was perfectly straight. I went back to that old strip set, and those of you who might not have heard, the walking foot didn't work for me. So I don't know. Maybe I'm allergic to walking feet, but it didn't work, and it didn't keep this. I was hoping by using a walking foot, I could sew them all from the top. And because I thought, well, if all of these strips run different lengths, how will I meet them at the other end? What I had to do is start at the top end where they're going to be level, lay it on a hard, flat surface like your desk or ironing board or cutting board, and then pin the next pair, starting at the top, pin it with them laying flat, not stretching them, pin them at the top and the bottom and the middle, and maybe two more in between each half. And if you do that, and then you stitch them, it works great. So yes, you're going to have to do some pinning, but it's worth it. The time spent pinning is much less than the time spent tearing it out. So, okay. So we'll talk more about that as we go through the day. I did write an agenda. It says, progress made on nod to the 19th century. Zip. Are you kidding me? I have hardly had time. I didn't even have my hair wasn't wet. Wasn't dry when I tried curling it today. So I am running on empty, but we're going to get this done. So, no, I didn't work on the nod, but that will come. The Bargello class starts Monday. I'm going to give you not only a pattern, and I'll give you a peek at what the quilt pattern's going to be. I'm going to give you a free pattern from northcott.com company. Then I'm going to give you my own version of the table. The table tells you how wide to cut each strip. This is once you've made your strip sets and sewn it into a tube. The table, because then you're going to turn it sideways and cross cut. And I'm going to make it very clear on the table how wide you cut the strip, what strip to start with. I'm going to make it very simple, and when to change directions. I'll give you a hint. Every time you hit a 3/4 of an inch strip, change directions with the next one. So, and you're going to have to, when it comes to cutting these, the tubes, we're going to pay attention. And I found my stickers worked really great. You got to be careful they don't fall off. Another problem I just thought of. I want you, when you lay out the order that you want your 12 fabrics, I want you to grab your phone and take a picture. Take 2 pictures, 3 pictures, because it is so easy to mix up those strips. Ask me how, I know. But it's going to be, it's really easy. It's one of those sniggly little things. You've got to just go process, step, step, step. But the way that we do the seams, they are going to nestle, and hopefully you won't have to pin when you put your final strip sets together. So, but I've been taking lots of pictures so that I can show you every step of it, and I can't wait. I can't wait. So don't forget your chocolate and beverage of choice. If you find it overwhelming, you may have to get something a little stronger. But it's going to be fun. I don't think I brought it down, but we're making good progress on our Thursday art quilt night. And I was telling y'all, after we finish this triptych, and this is in honor of Miss Nazzy, and she's a snazzy Nazzy too. Let me tell you, she's a pretty lady. She did the triptych that I saw that went, "Ooh, I want to do that." But when we finish this triptych, I'm going to take a couple weeks off from Thursday nights. It's too hard managing summer schedule, working in the garden, and doing 2 shows a week. In the winter, it's much easier because I don't have to go out in the yard. But what I'm going to do, y'all love landscape quilts so much. Do not worry. We're going to just incorporate landscape quilts into our Sunday show. And I know I want to do a stained glass. That'll probably be our next. And then let's do another landscape. So don't worry. We're still going to do the things you love best. It's just, I need to just have a moment where I can do 1 show a week. And, I got some new seeds and new lima bean seeds because they never came up or something ate them. And so I got new seeds and I've got to get back out in the garden. I don't know if Polly is here. Let me tell you, we had a storm that came through here. I got up at 10 this morning and the house was dark. I thought, is my alarm clock off? Because this is dark out. It was a huge storm center. Mary yesterday said, we had a really bad storm and it's coming your way. It came. The good thing is, we got some gusty winds, maybe to about 45 miles an hour, but it could have been much worse. There were, in this storm cell, they had them up to 60 miles an hour and hail and everything. Luckily, we got the little tail in. It was kind of moving northward just enough, but we got a couple inches of rain in like an hour. It was unbelievable. Oh, it was just rain there. We got a little lightning and wind, and got some good winds. Now, see, Polly's south of me. So we're lucky, Polly. It mostly went up above us. Rural Hall, Walkerville, it mostly went up above us. And, oh, boy, I bet you there are going to be some downed trees in this. So, but I'm happy for the rain. I didn't want to have to go out and water things. But now outside, it's bright and sunny. Well, let me tell you, when you're in the South and you get a thunderstorm and then the sun comes back out, it's a sauna. Let me see if I can show you. My windows are all fogged up. You see that? Dripping with water. So, whoops, sorry about that. But that's what living in the South is like. I thought I was moving more inland. I wouldn't have all of the humidity. I'm not crazy. Yes, I do. So anyway, all right. So far as the circle weaving, as you can see, I haven't done anything. So too busy on the Bargello. But I can't wait. I'm very excited about working on that. All right. Now, the one thing I have managed to get done this week in between everything is the flower fusion, the fused flower quilt that we did. And understand too, we have free patterns for everything I do. I draw up a pattern and they're all free. Just send me an email to, I forgot to bring my glasses down. This is why I always have them hanging on my neck, because if I put them down, I lose them. So I've got these nasty little ones. I'll try to do my best. All right. So if you want any of our free patterns, Our Time to Quilt, and it's at pwc.com. All right. Now, if you want to join our groups IO, we're doing this Bargello class, and then we're going to put a link to all of the videos from the Bargello class just for people who are class members or group members. We're going to be putting them on our group site. So it pays to join our free site. All of this is free. All righty. Let's see who is here really quickly. Lisa, Patty Kuchera, it's so good to see you. Lisa from Lisa's Quilting Corner. Meltem, I loved your new work. I've got new pictures from Meltem, and it is wonderful. I think, was it called Competition? And it's in her Etsy shop. So I'll show you her latest artwork. Because she has an Etsy shop where she sells the beautiful things she makes. And Sonia's here. Hi, sweetheart. Mitty is here. Oh, and I got a couple quilts from Sonia because I went back looking through some of the photo folders. That's a nice thing about joining our group. You get your own folder for photos so you can show people your work. So something on my eyes. Didn't do a good job of my makeup today. Mitty. So I went back and I found some things from Sonia I don't think I've shown y'all, so I want to show you. So Laura, Superman. I tell you what, I think this show would grind to a halt if it weren't for Mark. So Kathy Klein, hi, sweetie. I think I answered you back and sent you the link to Jitsi. And Jitsi, I want to say, I was very pleased with our Jitsi yesterday. They let us do unlimited time for free. They now also you can do the recording through them. I mean, how wonderful. So I love Jitsi. I found the setup to be, they had the same kind of little things in sharing and screen sharing, and you can turn on and off your video or your voice. I mean, it just was the same as I've noticed through Zoom. So I'm very, very happy. And let me see here. Okay, I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Mary is here. Jody is here. Loved her hair. That was so good to see our Jody. I miss seeing her. So that was really good. Teresa Jukovic, how are you, sweetie pie? Boy, it's good to see you. Michelle the Quilter is here. Yay! And this is Marcia, who's our hostess of the mostess. And Debbie is here. Yay, Debbie. Mary is cutting as we speak. Good girl. And it's just make sure that you just use your best organization skills. Okay? And you may even want to get baggies and put the different color strips in each baggie with a label on that so you don't forget. But Betty is here. Oh, good job. Good job. And Betty Meisner is one of our newest members. And Joni is one of our newest group members. So we're so happy to see them. Let me see. Make sure I don't want him. Polly is here. Glad she survived the storm. Yes, humid is the word. Oh, this is great. Okay, Alberta Powell. Hello, Alberta from Alabama. I'm waiting for her to make another good pie. It might be too hot down there. She might say, Deb, I'm not making a pie in this heat. But, okay, so this is the flour that I made. And I cut it out. I save damaged fabric that I've drawn a pattern on that I didn't use, fabric that's gotten stained. I save that fabric and I use it for things like this. There are some lines going across the back of this where I had tried to draw something on it and didn't do a good job of drawing. So then what I wanted to do is then cut it out. I've left a good seam allowance around the edge. What I will do with that seam allowance is fold it back like this so you can't even see it. Fold it back, and then I'm going to hand stitch this on the background. Now, so I've got this one. I'm going to put, the backing is going to be good old muslin. I kind of miss the days where muslin was the back for every quilt we made. Yes, I've been quilting that long. We had no rotary cutter. We had cardboard templates. You saved your cereal bowls and made your templates out of cardboard. I remember when Warm and Natural first came out, and it came in paper bags, and everybody thought, oh, this is the coolest thing. Everybody had been using polyester batting, and I'm not talking about good polyester. I'm talking about nasty polyester, and there were some good ones too. But I tell you that the fabrics, we didn't even know about all cotton. We were just starting to learn, oh, you want all cotton. Most of the fabrics that were in the fabric stores were poly cotton. And we learned as we went. So, and this now, and I remember the ladies saying, you're going to quilt this by your machine? Well, that's not quilting. And they had a fit. And then when these long arm machines came in, they had a bigger fit. And I've heard women say, well, that's not really quilting. I've heard them say that. And it's like, now anything goes. And isn't it wonderful? So women can be ambitious too, and they can be competitive with each other. I have seen it all. But anyway, when I do the hand applique on this, I'm going to use silk. This is YLI silk. And I use the same as I use for my piecing thread. I use gray, tan, white, black. I don't feel like I have to match everything. I've got my Jenny Beyer needle minder that I usually keep on my shirt. It's a nice magnet one. Oh, let me tell you, it is a beautiful talent. I have such respect. I save some of my old medicine bottles to keep tools in. I've got applique needles here. I've got a needle threader. So I'm set to go. I brought over about 10 fabrics to audition to put this on. And I tried a yellow because see, it's got yellow. I tried a pink. I tried a purple. I tried a blue. I tried a leafy pattern. I thought, ooh, put it on a leaf background. I tried a green background. I just couldn't. The backgrounds were either too washed out and made it just look like a blob, or I even tried a batik, but I wish it had been, if it had been fainter, it might have worked, but I didn't want anything to compete with this flower because I haven't counted the number of pieces on this, but I would say it's in the couple hundreds of pieces, little tiny pieces. Now, black poly, that I didn't even try that. Let me show you what I used, and I want to pin it on so you can see it better. And let me see. Now, I have to remember that black is a really good idea. And I even like gray sometimes. It's something different. This is what I chose. Now, you know what? This is not looking good. This is not looking good in the camera. It looked better in person than the camera. Oh boy. So maybe I'm not quite ready yet. I took this fabric, and while Mark was trying to fix the computer, I ironed fusible interfacing on the back. But I like it when it's laying down here. But when I held it up in the camera, I didn't like it. Oh boy. I don't know. I might have to try black. But I brought down some of, you know what? That tells you always hold it up. Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to go grab some black fabric. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Let me see what I can find. I know I have black. Be right back. Okay. Let's see. Because that's funny. It looked really good until I held it up in front of the camera. Okay. So I'm going to unpin this. Now, on the way to get black, I saw this purple, so I want to try that one too. Hi, Maisie girl. I'll try that. Then I brought these black fabrics. So there's this one. Nope, don't think I like that one at all. Looks too blah. Okay, then I brought a dotted black on black. Let's see what this one does. Oh, I like that pretty good. Then I brought a solid black. Let's see that one. I'm not sure. I don't think I like the solid black. Not quite as much. Hold on. If I don't put this on, I will drop it and then it'll unwind. Okay. Now, one more. Let's see. Now, there's that one. I don't think I like that swirl either. All right, I have two choices, and as usual, I'm going to let y'all help me make these choices. All right. Because I find having all of y'all around is very, very helpful. So I'm going to take and pin this so I can hold it up and show you. What did I do with that other pin? Oh, two. Okay. I'll get another one. I'm going to show you these two, and then you tell me. This is the black dotted, black on black. Let me show you up close. So here it is on the black dotted. And now let me try on this dark purple just to see. It's such a dark purple. It's kind of a wine colored purple. Really pretty. We'll see which it looks best on. Let me give it a little press so it'll hold. All right, let me put this on here. All right, now there's this one. So which one do you like best? Oh, Mary, that was a good idea too. So everybody tell us whether you like the dark purple, it's kind of a rum raisin, or the black dotted one. Give me your opinion and I will follow that one. Hold on a second. I don't mind texture as long as it's not too much. I don't want the texture to take away from some of them. I found the texture took away. So here is the, whoops, you can't see that very good. Here's the dot on dot. And then there's the purple or burgundy. Yeah. Okay. So far, the black is winning, but let's see. Give me your vote. Sonia says black. Teresa, oh boy. Up. Teresa says she likes the burgundy one, too. All right, so I'm thinking that more people are liking the black dotted. What do you think? You like the solid black. Let me see. I found that the solid black looked a little bit flat. That's the only thing I'm worried about. It looked a little flat, where when I put it on the dotted, it wasn't so stark. You're no help, you like either? I think I'm going to go with the black dotted. So now let me move a couple things. I think I got the best response. But Polly, thank you for mentioning black. I hadn't even thought of going that way. So now what I'm going to want to do, let me open this up and decide what size piece that I want to use. And let me grab my scissors. This might be a little bigger than I need, but okay. Put this back. I love these giant paper clips. It does a good job holding the fabric together. So now what I'm going to do, so this is, if you make something like this flower, how do you display it how do you present it? So that's what this is about. All right. Now I took, okay, I am going to give this a good spray of starch, because this, what I plan to do, I'm going to do a trapunto effect, a three-dimensional effect for, I'm going to do a three-dimensional effect for the flower, because there's so many petals and I kind of want some dimension with this. Oh, that's a cool idea. Now that's a lot of work. Miss Mary needs to come live near me so that she can help me do all her good ideas. Gosh, it was fun yesterday. Mary, thank you for joining us, and it was a lot of fun. Okay, so now you noticed that I gave the starch time to sink in. If I didn't, I would have gotten white flakes all over. By folding it starch side together, that really helped it to sink into the fabric. Now I'm going to turn the fabric over. Let me get, I buy fusible interfacing by the roll, by the bolt, because I go through it. Okay. So now I'm going to cut out some of this. And the reason I'm putting fusible interfacing on the back is because I am going to be doing trapunto type work. I'm going to do a heavy all over quilting. Maybe that's probably where I'll add the scalloping. I will probably do an echo stitching around the flower and just echo it out, or echo it a certain distance and then do maybe a lattice or check design, but it's going to be pretty heavily quilted. You feel the bumpy side, that's the one that has the fusible. So I'll come in here and I will fuse this on. Now I'm noticing this is a good quality. This is Pellon, but it still can want to come off when you handle it a lot. And I am going to be handling it an awful lot. So I'm going to end up taking black thread so I don't have to look at it all the time, and do hand basting around this. But I'm just going to press it. It probably, some of these directions say put a damp pressing cloth. So there are, read the directions that I threw in the trash can. It's a good idea to read those. Okay. All right. But I definitely will base this around, because since I am going to handle it a lot while I'm appliquing it on, I want it to stay sturdy. So I'll just do a great big long stitch, something that's easy to take out once I'm done. All right. Then once I iron it on the back, I bring it over to the front and do a nice job making sure it's nice and smooth. Go from the center out. If you start at one edge, a lot of times the glue on the fusible will melt and it'll start bunching up by the time you get to the other edge. So start at the middle, go out to your edges. Then to do this other side, flip it around. Lay it down, because look, I already got a little melted fold. But I think that's going to be in the margins. But start in the middle and go out. Pardon me. sometimes when I like deal with fabrics I haven't used in a while or the interfacing, I get a little dust from it. All right, so now we've got this. That is great. What I've also done, brought up some scrap batting. Let me see if this is polyester batting or is this stuffing. Nope, these are leftover batting pieces. Perfect. Okay. I think I'm going to use the polyester and save the cotton for when to put on the whole quilt thing around it. And I'll tell you why. By using this polyester batting, I'm going to get a nice high loft. And, oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Miss Mary. Okay, now got my, whoops, is this the one that's almost empty? I got my glue. I've got my flour. And what I'm going to do, so I'm going to rough cut this batting. Just going to rough cut it, okay? Oh, that's not part of it. Fabric stuck on it. Okay, so let me come back in here. I'm going to rough cut this right here. All right. Now, that's pretty good. But what I think I'm going to do is come in here and cut a rough circle. And the rough circle is going to go here. And the reason I'm doing this is to add just a little bit of extra batting so that the flower will be slightly domed. Okay? But that, now, before I go to the next step, oops, you're missing your lid. Hold on. Okay, here it is. I hadn't cut that one yet. All right, so what I'm going to do first, put a little touch of glue where this piece that I just kind of patched in, and then I'm going to come around here and do glue dots. Okay, and then I'm going to take and just dots. You don't need a lot of glue. Now I'm going to come back in and put more glue dots. And that's going to hold this extra batting in place until I can get it sewn on. Okay, I just don't want it sliding around. Here is I forgot how I had this cut. Hold on, let me up. Maybe like this. Okay, so now press this in. And to cover this leaf, these leaves, I'm going to cut off this excess. Okay, then put a little glue over there. Take a piece of this and put on that. So it's just, this is a great way to use up your scraps. Put little glue dots here, put this. None of this will ever be seen, but the fluffy dimensionality will be great. You will appreciate that. And then I'll put this over here. All right. All right. Now, put that glue back on. What I might end up doing To find the center of this, if that's important to you, just fold it again, take your hot iron, give it a little crease. By doing this, it's going to help you decide where on this you want to put it. So now that's my next thing, is how do I want to display this? And here I'm going to cut off some of the egregious excess. You don't have to cut it perfectly because your stitching and quilting will take care of that. And if you have any little areas showing, just take some of these scraps and pop it on. All right. So what I'm going to do, let me turn back to the front. I don't really need to be on the bottom of this. Okay. I'm going to decide what I'm thinking about, honestly, is putting this slightly crooked and then coming in and do a few applique leaves, kind of a little leaf or here or there, trickling down just a little. So now what I'm going to do is put some more glue dots so it'll hold this flower in place until I've done the applique. And as I do the applique, yeah, this will be good. So now I've got these leaves on the flower here. And here I'll make a couple extra leaves and having them come down. So hi, Catherine. Yay. Oh, hello from Ukraine. Oh boy, let me tell you, we're so glad to see you. And there we go. We are one. And we put a new quilt up, and I said, I don't want to lose that. Save it out so I can hang it back over it. But, we love our Ukraine, and we want this to be over soon and get your country being rebuilt, because I have been learning some of the history of the Ukraine, and it's amazing history. So besides the Ukrainian Pisanki eggs that I love, there's a lot of good stuff from the Ukraine. And I certainly admire their people so much. All right, so I'm just doing a few pins of this on to hold it while the glue dries. And then I will take it upstairs tonight. And when I finally get tired of being on the sewing machine, I'll start working on this. And I'm just going to show you a couple little stitches that I'm going to do. Now, I've got to do the applique. I've got to applique this down. And I've got to applique this down before I do anything else. Then, when it comes time to quilt it, I will put a big layer of batting on the back, and then my backing, which I'm going to use the muslin, and only then, I will not do any hand beading until it's finished quilted. The beading is the last. Anything that sticks up is the last thing to be done. I'm even thinking of doing a little hand embroidery stitches like using floss to bring out some of the details. But I think it's going to be pretty. I'll make some more of these leaves and have them kind of trail down over here. So I think I'm going to like this. So let me just show you something really quickly. This is just going to be a very quick tutorial on needle turn applique. I grabbed the first thing of applique stitches or needles I could find. All right, and here's my silk thread. And here we go. Oh, let me get rid of this batting right now. I don't like to keep batting too close to an iron. Put out this beautiful Ukraine flag here. Yeah, the Ukrainian flag I made almost a year and a half ago has faded terribly, and I thought, should I make a new one? And I said, no, I think the fact that it's faded so much, it just reinforces this has been going on too long now. Too long. So, okay. Whoops. Now, let me try using this needle threader. Well, you've got to be able to get the needle threader into the needle. And I'm not going to push it all the way in, just enough to get this in. One of the problems with needle threaders is they break so much. So I try to find ways to keep them from breaking. Like you don't need to push the needle all the way on it, just enough to put the thread through. Like this. Whoops, I almost had it. It was through, but my big fingers. I've got big arthritic hands, so all right, here we go. And then if I don't put it all the way through, it's a little easier on the threader than to take it off. All right, and I always hold the base of the threader because those little wires will come right out of the plastic. Now, you're going to notice, yes, I'm using way too long of a basting thread. So just remember, I'm very impatient. And I was hoping I had some wax right here. I don't see it right off, but I know I've got it. So I always take and use Thread Heaven or wax on my thread, especially since I use a long piece of thread so that the thread won't get so worn. Okay, so I wrap it plenty of times to make a good knot because if I just do it 2 times, it seems to want to pull out. Now let me bring this down to you. So I'm going to show you how I start to do needle turn applique. And this is such a peaceful thing. I just love it. Okay. So I'm pushing back on the batting. Then I'm going to turn the fabric that it was sewn to back over to the back, get everything out of the way. I'm going to come up well under the fabric to bury my knot. And then it's called needle turn because you run the needle along the edge of the fabric. When you do that, it helps it turn. Then what you do is you travel underneath your background fabric. And you come up, get just a little nibble of the front. Okay, you do all your traveling underneath that backing fabric. And then you come up and grab just a little nibble of the applique. So you're going straight down, you run underneath, you come up 1/8 of an inch away or less, come up, grab a little bit of that, then pull it snug. And you just take your needle, run it under the fabric. Most of the time I just use my finger and push it. But this is what needle turn applique. It means your fabric is not pre-turned under. You do it as you go. And that's my favorite form of it because trying to iron under those little edges is a real pain. And then come up. Now, you'll notice that the edge of the leaf, the edge of the leaf is a little fuzzy looking, but that's because I already did machine applique on the first piece of fabric, but I want to do needle turn on this one. So it's not going to be as tidy as if you did it from scratch needle turn. But hopefully you're able to see that with using a silk thread, you do not see the stitches. The only thing you might see is where I use the monopoly to zigzag all the tiny pieces down. So there you go. And then if you look to the back, boy, they don't even show through the interfacing. But, and then, okay, let me do one more thing. I'm going to take my little snip scissors. I'm going to come up and take some of the excess fabric out of the corner. Okay, cut that out. Now, that was this fabric, not the leaf. You have to do 3 stitches on a corner. So I'm going to push this back like this. All right. And this thread, okay, you have to do 3 stitches on a corner. I'm going to start the corner here, and snug it up, then come over the tip of the leaf. You're almost doing these right in place. Come over the tip of the leaf, and then go back down at the tip of the leaf. So there's 2 stitches technically there. And then come over just to the right of the tip like this. So there you go. Now, if this hadn't been raw appliqued onto the first foundation, I would want perfectly smooth edges. But this helps there to keep there from being any excess machine zigzagging. And then you just continue up that side. When in doubt, put extra hand stitches in. You will never be unhappy with extra stitches, but if you don't quite put enough and the fabric wants to fray, you will be very sad. And try to stay close to the edge. But if it's raw applique, don't go so close to the edge that it wants the fabric to just shred, because I'm not able to turn over the actual fabric. All right, so there you go. There is a leaf. I mean, it is in very good. Now, another thing to tell you. I am one of those people who don't like doing now do you see why I've got my interfacing? Let me take out the pen, but do you see how when you do this, it wants to kind of pull it up a little bit? Having the fusible interfacing on helps it lay flatter. But I'm one of these people who does not like quilting and bumping up against applique. I try to stay about 1/4 of an inch away from my applique so that I don't disturb all the hand stitching. But what I am going to do with this is I'm going to come around. Once it's all sewn, you won't be able to see any of the white. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to kind of stitch around the edge of all these petals, not the little tiny bits, but just to emphasize the petals like this. Stitch all around the petals. I'm going to run a stitch down here to emphasize the vein. Might put a few extra, the spine and the vein. I'll do the same thing here. So by doing that just around the edge, if you do too much quilting on this, you'll flatten out the interfacing. So just do the edges, and that is going to make this flower come to life. Work in here. I remember these are all little petal buds that haven't opened yet. So I remember what they look like. They're little triangles, so I'll do the stitching there. Okay? Then, so after I've done the quilting on this, then I'll come and I'll do a few rounds of echo quilting, and then I'm going to do diagonal cross hatching. Okay. So I'm hoping this gives you, some idea. Before I do the quilting, I need to have the other leaves kind of dribbling down here. So, but I just thought I'd give you another little mini lesson on hand applique. Now, how I finish it off, you're not going to see the back anyway. Is just go down, pull it snug, and put several knots. If you were somehow going to see the back, what I would tell you is to make a big knot that can go pop through this fabric and get stuck in the batting. Either way, that is good. So I will put this away for now and have it, I'll work on it tonight. And maybe by next week, I'm not promising, but maybe I'll have something done on it. Right now, I still have my beach quilt. Remember, we did the beach landscape? That is still on my frame. So, okay. So hopefully, I don't know. I like keeping up with your skills, refreshing. I love doing refresher little things. And so I hope that helped a little. All right. So I think next, what we want to do, we are going to have Thursday night work on the triptych. So that's going to have to be one of my first important things to get done. I will try to work on that some during the day when I have a chance. All right. I'm trying to close these needles. I would hate 50 needles to hit the floor, kind of ruin your day. So, all right. That is done. And why don't we, let me see. Oh, I see maybe some questions being asked. Thank you, Marsha. Marsha just cares for so many people. And, our heart is with the Ukraine. So, and we want you to have all the Crimea, everything back. That's what we want. Nothing less. Hi, Charlene Lawson. Oh, you've been babysitting. Oh no, you can't. He's tough to keep up with. When my grandsons were here, I was tired. So you're doing very good. Okay. So now let's go look. Let me turn off the lights and we're going to go look at your pictures because I did get some new ones in this week. Can't wait to show you. Let me turn off the lights. Okay. And I'll still use that fabric that I put the fusible interfacing on. I'll just use it for something else. So fabric never goes to waste. It just gets recycled. All right. Let me turn you around here. Let's go look at some pictures. Whoops. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. We're going to start at Anne. We have a very energetic, lovely new member, Anne Lewandowski. And oh, you know what? She sent me another one too. I'll show her other one next week. I forgot to go back and get it. She wanted some advice. And she had a wonderful landscape that the sky had two seams in it. So I was giving her one of them. She could put a tree in front of the other. I said, very carefully, just iron that seam as flat as you can get it so it's less noticeable. But look at the work she's doing. Look at this wonderful canoe. Look at all this. And it's 4x6. Isn't that amazing? So I'm excited to have Anne in our group. I tell you what, we learn a lot from you. So when you see Anne, just let her know we are very impressed with her quilting. That is just wonderful, her quilt making. All right, so now let's see. Oh, I do want to show you some of the Bargello ideas. And let me get rid of this one. Okay, so I started with my fabric and I was so tickled. Now you see, this is the fabric I bought. Isn't it good that we added the brown, the red, the purple? Those colors right there would have just fallen flat. Here's the blues, green. And I knew when I looked at it, I said, it's not enough. We need some punches. So thank you. Y'all helped me so much. And now you're seeing, look how that red is such a punch. Look at the brown. Look, this is purple. It doesn't look purple, but it is. And it just brings those colors to life. That's why I don't just match the color and the focus fabric. I was showing you how to leave the selvages on so you know what the top of the fabric is. This is showing you when you get to the end, they won't match. That's okay. Because each of the strips is a little bit different. And here I've been sewing the pairs together. So here is a pair. Now, make sure you sew when you make all the different pairs, you sew them from top to bottom. When you put pairs together, you sew from bottom to top. But don't worry, I'll remind you and show you as we're working on it. Here is my newest strip set. Look how straight that is. And I'm going to show you the one I did with the walking foot. Here is me. I've made the tube, and what I'm doing is cutting my strips out. But I pulled this back to show you it is a tube, and it's 2 strip sets sewn together and sewn so as they go from top color to bottom color, top color to bottom color. So we'll talk about that during class too. Now, how do you cut these strip sets? How do you see what you're doing? And I don't have a June Taylor ruler that will cut that long, and I didn't want to fold it. I wanted it just to be the tube. It's 2 layers of the tube. What you do is you bring a shorter ruler, or it could be a long ruler, but narrower, and you put it on, and then if you need 1.5 inches, you put it 1.5 inches from the edge, then you butt your cutting ruler up to that ruler, then move this ruler away, and then cut along that ruler. And boy, that makes the job so much easier. So you see here, this ruler is measuring, I think I was getting ready to do a 1 3/4. So you just have to know which one on here is the 3/4, move it to that, butt this ruler up, move this one, the little one away, and cut. That's how we're going to cut our strips. Here are my labels. So to show you how I keep track of them, and this is strip number 17. I make it 3/4 inch wide, and number 2 color goes at the top. So I keep track by making those stickers, and I'll show you more on that. You can use little pieces of paper you pin to it. You can even staple a piece of paper to it. You can use masking tape that you write on. Here's the board I already showed you, but see how easy this is for you to sit back and know, yes, I'm doing it right. I'm following the bouncing ball. Okay. Here is the crooked strip set. I used the walking foot, and I sewed them all from the top down. Do you see the corner that this thing is making? It was awful. And so I had to take every other one back off, take them back to the little pairs, and then re-iron the strips, the pair strips, sew them back together. And Thursday night, I showed you what else can I do to straighten it back out. This is my focus fabric. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. But I show you one more time. This is the crooked one. So now I took the walking foot off, and just by doing the sewing the seams every opposite way, that you can correct that is the curve that wants to come in. So, and this one was sewn correctly. My first one wasn't. So see how the purple is right up against the darkest blue? And my crooked one, boom, I made that mistake. And I actually like it better the other way anyway. All righty. Now, so I think that's it for me, because that's all I've been doing. Nothing more exciting than that. Let's see, Brenda. I'll show one more time. I need to get in touch with her. She might be really busy at work. They told me that what she does is uses paint by number pictures, and instead of using paint, she does fabric. Well, that opens up a whole new world of adventure. And there is the paint by number, the inspiration, and then she takes and enlarges it and goes by the colors on color numbers, and that is gorgeous. And just to show, I love her elephant here. That is wonderful. So I love using not odd colors, but unusual colors, not customary colors, and you can still tell what it is. I just think that's fascinating. All right, now we'll go back. And, oh, I guess I do have a few little, I forgot we were in Bargello. Let me bring my Sunday Deb up. All righty. Oh, here's some more instructions. Okay, let's see what this is. Come on. Well, okay, here we go. This is my shape cut ruler, and I like this to cut all my 2.5-inch strips. I neaten up the first edge, and then I can come in and go 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, 15, 17.5. Without moving that ruler, I can cut, 7 pieces at a time? Pretty cool. So I do love a shape cut ruler. And then I was watching the textile talks while I was doing all the cutting of my fabric. And here was when I was deciding which brown should be in the fabric. And Eagle Eye Mary realized I was missing one of the fabrics, but I had it, I just hadn't cut it yet. And there is red in this, but there's no green, and there's only a light tan. But sometimes fabrics can give you the impression of a color, and by expanding out, you get a much more exciting quilt. And we decided on the dark brown, not the tan. Y'all have been helping me make a lot of my decisions. Here is a photo that inspired me to do the pieced flower. And I think this is so pretty. I would like to be able to, mine, I had more little hunks, but I love the lines in this, the little skinny lines of fabric. And I would assume that she cuts a bigger piece of the light and then pieces the other colors on top, because it's hard to make little tiny strips stick together. Then I found this photo was the inspiration for my dahlia quilt. And I just think that's beautiful. So let me see if I think I might be done. Yep, that's it for me. So back here. All right. Debbie Hodges sent me some new pictures. I love them. And look at this. Is that beautiful? I've got to tell you, my heart has a special place for a pieced quilt with some applique work on it. And those are gorgeous. All of a sudden, I forgot the name of the flower. Hibiscus. Those are gorgeous hibiscus on that quilt. And they pull the colors out of it. That's beautiful, Debbie. Beautiful. Oh, also, Debbie, I bet you're glad you're not still back in Houston with the heat wave they're having. Oh, my goodness. So, and look at this. Isn't this beautiful? I love collage style quilting. I love her thread work on it where she did the stamens. Just beautiful. And I love, look at this wonderful busy fabric. Look at the busy vase. It works with an orange background. It's like, it is a hot, fully exciting piece of work. I love that. Then she had done a bargello, and she did it as if it's the bottom of the ocean to the top with the lighthouses. That is so creative. And here is another quilt she had done with undersea fabric. And a wonderful, these are rail fenced, but if you put them this way, it makes more like a rectangular pinwheel. I love that. So thank you, Debbie, for sending those, because we love seeing your work. It inspires us. Now, our Diana Bicknell, she had a ceremony last week where they went to award these quilts of valor to the soldiers. And look at these two beautiful quilts she made. I love the rich colors, just really a beautiful, beautiful quilt. And let me tell you, Quilt of Valor wants good quality quilts of a certain size and top quality fabrics. And Diana did that in multitudes. That was amazing. Then Miss Jody, we actually got to see this courthouse steps in real life. And she can tell you how many blocks she has to make. It is amazing. And this woman is tenacious. That's what we're going to name her. Her new nickname is Tenacious Jody. And here is a Bargello baby quilt she made. Look at that. You can make a Bargello and still have it be delicate for a baby, but interesting. So I love that. And then here are her 9-patch. This is a 19th century or 1890s 9-patch that she's making. Isn't she something? And I love how neat and tidy her work is. Yeah, one day when I grow up, I want to be Jody. That's it. I have decided. And for those of you who are new and might not remember her matinee monster art, well, I'm going to show you. She's thinking about framing these, but look at this. Isn't that amazing? Oh my gosh. So I keep these in a folder because they're so good. We like to revisit them. So each week I'll show you one of her matinee idols. All right, let's go back here. And Miss Mary, are you ready for this? Miss Mary has already made her nod to the 19th century quilt. She's already quilted it and bound it. Is that amazing? I love it. I love how bright and sunny and happy. The colors she chose, the fussy cutting of the centers. It is wonderful. So way to go, Miss Mary. There it is from the side so you can see some of the quilting. And here, look at that. I love pieced backs. I love it. Don't let any of that fabric go to waste. Beautiful job, Miss Mary. Wonderful. We got to see Mary yesterday and hear her talk and laugh. That was great fun. Miss Melanie's having surgery first thing tomorrow morning to replace her shoulder. be thinking about her then if you would. So she quickly got 12 of her blocks made. And here they are. So Miss Mary may try to watch some of our classes, but she has to keep that shoulder still until the doctor tells her to do the therapy. So she probably won't be chatting with us. Look at that. Isn't that great? I love the fussy cut centers. Oh, and her color choices. I can't wait to see this all come together. But that's it. If you can kind of use fabrics to pull those together, how wonderful. And I think this one's going to have, it's going to have some subtle areas, and it's going to, this is, she said, is a hot pink. And I think it's going to have some subtle areas, but it's also going to have a little punch. So that's wonderful. Okay, Miss Melton, I need a drum roll for this gorgeous quilt that she's working on that's in her shop, she said. First, let me show you. Look at this. And it's supposed to be a journey of a young man from in the womb to old age. And look how they're on either side, same person on either side of that door. Isn't that wonderful? So this piece of art is on her Etsy site, and keep her in mind. She's a wonderful artist. This is this maybe supposed to be DNA? It's just so fascinating. I love it. Now let me go back and show you a couple of the close-ups. Oh, I love this. You are so talented. Way to go, Miss Melton. And the extra quilting you put in. Wow. That is wonderful. So don't forget about Miss Melton's Etsy shop. I love it. And she takes the money she makes from her work and puts it back into more materials so she can create more. And that's a very good thing. Miss Robin. I've got to see how Miss Robin's doing. I haven't talked to her this week, but here is her house. She's one of our dear Canadian friends, and I love that she made all of her decorations. Then here she is with her big, wonderful family. Love it. And a wonderful, they just had Canada Day last week, I think July 1st or 2nd. And look at this beautiful Canada quilt, red maple. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? So happy Canada Day a week ago. And then here is, I assume this is her and her husband camping. Isn't that lovely? That is such a happy, happy quilt. And let me see. I think we've got one more. Oh, this is her. This is her purple coneflower that mutated and sent off what I would call fireworks around the center cone. Isn't that amazing? I hope she managed to save some seeds from that, because if that would replicate, that is an amazing new flower configuration. Beautiful. All right. And that's kind of how things, mutations are what give us the variety that we have now. So it's a good thing. This is Miss Rose. She's one of our new members. She's really busy right now, but she does check in. This is the view in winter from her dock. She's also from Canada. And look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Then I love her close-up of the sunflower. I love her wonderful multicolored carrots. And look at the different varieties of tomato. Yum. I love that. Okay. Now let's see who else. Sheila. We have a new Sheila, and she sent to a picture of her Bargello Isn't that amazing? A heart-shaped Bargello. So that's pretty awesome. We can't wait to see more of your pictures, Sheila. Thank you for sharing that. That is amazing. Once I teach you the basics of Bargello, then you'll be able to go out and try new and varied things. All right, let's see. These are some of the quilts that I found from Sonia's site. I've told you of all the people I know, she is such a brilliant technician. And it's nice for her to have an eye for color, but also to be so good at her technical sewing skills. So isn't that pretty? Love it, love it. All right, next one is a double wedding ring quilt that she made in honor of her beautiful daughter, who she lost a couple years ago. But boy, what a beautiful quilt this is. Look at that. And I'm seeing it's got some fussy cut blocks in it. It's probably things that meant something to Nessa. And here is a dedication block to her beautiful daughter. So thank you, Sonia. That was just so gorgeous. All right. I think that is the last of our show and tell. And I didn't think I had much today to talk to you about, but we always end up using up our time, don't we? I thought, well, I might have a chance to get off here a little earlier today, and then I'll go back and get that sewing done. So, all right. That was really nice. And I tell you, I love seeing your work. So please feel free to send me pictures of the things you make or your garden flowers, any of that, and send it and we'll show it to everyone because we love that. If I missed anyone's, then I apologize. I'm kind of a little bit busy lately, but I'm so excited about our class. I can't wait. So thank you so much. I forgot to come back to y'all. And now that I'm using this new mouse, I knew I wouldn't lose the chat. I thought, we're going to just have a breeze of a time. And then we came in with sound problems. But thank you for sticking with me through it. And y'all are the very best. And y'all take the best care of yourselves this week. And even I'm getting my hammock put up in my sunroom so that when I have just a few moments to just spoil myself, I'm going to get in that hammock with a good book. That's it. That will be it for me. Teresa Jukovic, it was so good to see you. It was really, really good. So, been constantly raining, so you haven't been outside. Yes, I tell you, we've had some breaks in the rain, but it's been over 90 degrees. And I'm not real big on over 90 degrees. So thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, Miss Mary. You're so dear. So I will see, hopefully, as many of you who want to show up on our Jitsi site. You'll have to have the link. So give me an email if you need the link. If you're a member of our site, it's right on the site. And tomorrow at 3 p.m. New York time, we'll do a probably 2-hour class. And let's get started on a Bargello. So thank you for everything. Take good care of yourself. Stay out of the heat. Stay cool. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody. Take good care. Thank you.